Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome back or welcome in to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where I examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, as usual, Blair Parks. It's great to be with you, and this is my Week 7 preview and picks episode. My apologies. I am a day late getting this out to you, the black and gold family, and all of you college football fanatics. There's been a little bit of drama, the last half of this week here at the Parks residence. So hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Next week you could expect, per the norm, my review and preview episodes coming out on the normal days. But while here we are, Week 7, and how fitting is this? Now, if you've been watching my previous episodes, I did coin Weeks 4 through 7 as this year's edition of our 4-course college football meal, and Week 7 is the dessert portion of our meal. And how fitting is that? Because like a lot of individuals, me not being one of those, I'm more of a appetizer guy than I am dessert, but usually dessert is icing on the cake. See what I did there? Usually that is a lot of people's favorite course. And what a Week 7 we have on tap. I mean, hands down, up to this point, the biggest matchups as far as what they will ultimately mean for conference races and ultimately the college football playoff and berths in that playoff. That is all going down this weekend in Week 7. And I'm so excited, so pumped. Both of our black and golds are off this week on bye weeks, and they come at good times for both of them. Missouri coming off 3 straight really heartbreaking losses. They've been so close. Comes at a good time for them to kind of recap, refresh, reevaluate, get a little bit healthier. And Iowa, well, I think after the last 2 weeks with the offensive output and production, or lack thereof is more accurate, I think maybe our eyes need a little bit of a break from seeing that offense in action. So both of them come at good times. Next week, Missouri opens up again. They host Vanderbilt for homecoming weekend, and Iowa has the pleasure of traveling to the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State. So great. That's just excellent. But yeah, so it's a big time weekend coming up, and as you can tell, it's a little bit chilly here this morning, early afternoon in the Show Me State. A very chilly breeze, so I had to break out something a little bit heavier. Hopefully, I haven't lost some of you. I mean, a few of you might already be a little bit hypnotized by this excellent sweater that I've donned today. Let me know what you think. Ugly, beautiful, somewhere in between. You can't even describe it. I love it. One of my favorite fanfare attires. Thank you, Tracy, my sister-in-law. Absolutely love it. So your negative comments, guys, just remember, they could be seen. This was a gift, and it's an excellent gift. And before I say anything more, thank you for all that you do, guys. I mean, I can't even describe to you. And I'm a guy who likes to think of himself as being a little bit well-versed. I do like to wax poetic, or I do my best occasionally. Thank you for everything that you've done for the channel, your support, your time, your attention. Everything is trending up. Subscriptions, I need more. Click the button. This is not just for the fans of our black and golds, but this is a safe haven for all college football fans. You are all welcome here, and I always encourage your subscriptions, your likes, your shares, especially comments. I mean, this channel, these episodes are really driven by you, the viewer, and gracias for everything you've done. I mean, it's absolutely so satisfying that the word is getting out there, that everything is going in the right direction. And thank you for all you do and allowing me to come to you in front of you weekly and share my love and passion of everything college football with you, the viewer, black and gold fans, and college football fanatics alike. So please continue to get the word out there. Tell your friends, your fellow fans, family, co-workers. Let them know. Tell them to check out the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog and click that subscribe button, guys. I need you. Let's keep a good thing going. So, what's on tap for today? Kind of my usual preview and picks episode. First off, my first segment will be the updated Heisman Trophy candidates and who I believe would be, as of right now, on my Heisman Trophy shortlist. Not going to say who I believe is going to win, but if I could compile a list of Heisman Trophy candidates, these would be the cats that would be on it. Next segment after that, I have a very special sound off today, and today it's a double dose of sound off. I love this new segment to where it gives me a chance to sound off, whether it's good or bad, about a certain subject, coach, player, fan base, anything going on in college football. Very similar to you Family Guy folks who, you know, when Peter Griffin, the episode, What Grinds My Gears, I give myself 3 minutes to really say what I need to say and move on. And then after that, we move into the main segment of this episode. Simultaneously, my previews and picks for the upcoming Week 7. And I am joined this week by 2 guest pickers. That's right. For the first time this season, a couple as a team will step into Thunderdome. My friends Caleb and Amy step up to the plate to take on me straight up. But also, this goes down for seeding for ultimately the second annual guest picker tournament challenge here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. So a little bit later, we'll get to those picks by myself and Caleb and Amy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so here's my Heisman Trophy shortlist heading into a pivotal Week 7. I have 5 individuals, and spoiler alert, it's very quarterback heavy, but I do have 1 individual that I added to last week's list, and I've also removed 1 person. So the number is still at 5, but a little bit of a switch. First, I have Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. Next, Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. USC quarterback Caleb Williams. And making his debut on my Heisman shortlist is TCU quarterback Max Duggan. Now, the 1 person I did remove due to injury. Now, this cat can absolutely get back on this list. I mean, after all, he is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, but he's now missed a game and a half due to injury, so he's going to have to earn it. So I did remove Alabama quarterback Bryce Young for now. And when the big thing about this is 4 of these 5 individuals, they have major statements they can make coming up here in Week 7 with big time matchups aplenty, to where I think at the end of this weekend, I can maybe even let you in on it, to where who I think is the Heisman front runner, because that really can be apparent at the end of this weekend, because all of these guys, 4 of these 5, are in big-time, huge matchups moving forward. I mean, this is the chance that they need. Anymore to win the Heisman, you need to be on a good team, a team that's competing, but you also have to have your Heisman moment, that game or that amazing play, and 4 of these 5 guys are going to be presented that this weekend. So that's my Heisman Trophy shortlist, those 5 individuals. Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I always encourage your participation and your comments. Let me know what you think about my Heisman Trophy shortlist. Now let's move into sound off. Ooh, and I got to get ready for this one, guys, because my blood pressure is definitely going to rise when I go through today's segment of sound off. And like I opened up with, today I have a double dose. Normally, I will put 3 minutes on the clock. I'm going to do that today and try to give each of these two things equal time, because these are two things that I've got to address, to where these are kind of head scratchers to me. So this is going to be a very, very fiery sound off. I've got to warn you, so I'll try to keep it PG-13 at most, but I can't make any promises, guys. And let me set the stage. The first of these two subjects today is going to be a newer fair catch rule in response to an onside kick opportunity. And the other is dealing with one of the great stories, if not the biggest story, early in the first half of the college football season, is James Madison University. The Dukes, if you're unaware, this is their first year at the FBS Division I level. They made the transition over the offseason, so they did not plan it in advance. These guys were an FCS powerhouse, and here they are, one of two remaining undefeateds at the non-Power 5 level, which both of those teams currently are in the Sun Belt Conference, and they're ranked number 25. So the second subject in this week's Sound Off will be referencing George Madison's postseason fate. So let's go ahead and get ready. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock, and here she goes. All right, over week 6, I saw something brand spanking new, a rule that went into place a few years ago, but I have been unaware of it because I've never seen it. I'm referencing the big game that happened in Stillwater between Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. It's early in the first quarter. Tech, on their opening drive, I believe, marches down the field, takes a 7-0 lead at the Pokes, and then they come back with a surprise onside kick, basically surprised everybody in the great state of Oklahoma. It was recovered by Tech, but it did not stand. Not due to it not traveling 10 yards or the kicking team being offside, not that, but it's this new fair catch rule. That's right, that also applies to onside kicks. Whether it hits the ground once and takes a high bounce, or if it goes directly in the air. This one was the first of the two. It took a bounce and then hit and took a high bounce. But now the receiving team, in this case being Oklahoma State, you can call fair catch. What the hell is going on? I mean, you're taking a huge potential play out of college football. Who doesn't love the excitement of an onside kick? Whether it's early or late, expected, unexpected, I couldn't believe it. I thought to myself, what the hell are they calling on the field? And it's an absolute new rule, and I've got to give credit where credit is due. It was great heads-up coaching by the Oklahoma State special teams coach and that unit for that individual to even wave for a fair catch. What a great job of being prepared. Much better than me, obviously. And we all understand why that's in place, to protect the players, because you don't want someone to set yourself up to be basically unprotected. We get that. I understand exactly why that's in place, to protect these players. But you can't take one of the most exciting plays out of football. I mean, and that's going to change everything moving forward, because you know damn well you're going to have copycats who will do this every single week because it's at the discretion of the referees. There's no guidance on how high it has to travel in the air, 8 feet, 20 feet, 4 feet. It's really at the discretion of the referees. Not reviewable. This has got to be looked at, guys, because this is a big-time game changer. I'm just telling you, review it, NCAA. Now, the next subject is JMU's postseason fate. Here we are. They're undefeated, ranked number 25, the first ever ranking for them as an FBS team. Actually, it's the first ever FBS team to be ranked in their first season at the FBS level. They're on a potential collision course to meet up with Coastal Carolina, who is also undefeated there in the Sun Belt. But no matter what, we could have potentially an undefeated James Madison team heading into championship week, or after championship week with the Sun Belt title. And guess what? They're not eligible for postseason play. That's right. Via the NCAA rules and these fools there in Indianapolis, you have to have a 2-year transition rule when you get to the FBS before you can participate in the postseason. Get rid of it. NCAA, you no longer have any sort of authority. You don't. The Supreme Court called your bluff. You have no idea what you're doing. You need to adapt. What the hell is going on? This is absolutely ludicrous. James Madison, get them in the postseason. They already deserve it. And you claim NCAA that you do whatever's best for the advancement and best part, and you try to put the NCAA athletes in a position to succeed and to celebrate them. Well, put your money where your mouth is. Get James Madison in. Repeal this pathetic, awful rule immediately. That's it. That's my sound off for this week. Let me know what you think. I think you guys would have to agree with both of these. If you don't, let me know. I want to hear your side of it. But I think it's absolutely just, it's far out. What are they going to try to remove next? I mean, you have to be able to give ample opportunity for the team kicking the onside to retrieve it. All right? And I get it. You got to have that mix there with that for protection for the players, but still, you can't, that's going to change everything. Now, it's on everybody's radar. I mean, people will do that each and every week. And this James Madison, this 2-year transition rule, I mean, it just proves the point there, guys, that the NCAA has no idea what the hell they're doing. And they just don't. And they're trying to flex still like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, but they no longer have that authority. They just don't. And they don't have that kind of pull. So I ask you to get on them, write your local congressman or congresswoman, call the NCAA offices, email them, let them know. Rise up, people. That's my new mission. Let's get JMU to the postseason. All right. So that's my sound off for this week, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Now we're going to move into everybody's favorite segment. It's picks and previews time for the matchups here in Week 7. Now, if you're a first-time viewer here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, during these episodes each week, I pick 15 games, all right? Now, some of these will be the on-radar matchups, the big ones going into the week that you will know, and some others are going to be kind of off-the-radar games that still absolutely will matter for these conference races. And the nice thing, that it's going to be a little bit of an added bonus, because normally, every week, what I do, I will pick 6 spotlight games. I will always pick an Academy Game of the Year, or Academy Game of the Week, excuse me, which always will include one Academy school, Army, Air Force, or Navy, as my way to salute the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces. I will always pick a non-Power 5 matchup of the week between 2 non-Power 5 schools within those conferences. I will always pick an FCS matchup of the week because I love FCS quality football. It's a great brand, a great product. And then I always will pick games when Missouri or Iowa play. But this week, since they're both off, I don't have to do that. And then I always pick one premier spotlight game of the week. But this week, there's so many, I actually have 3 premier spotlight games to pick, since both Missouri and Iowa are on bye this week, and I am so excited to do this. Now, also normally I have trap games that I like to list, but unfortunately, this week Admiral Akbar is off. He's out there gallivanting across the galaxy. Last time I knew, he was at Mos Eisley. He could be blasting off to Kashyyyk next, or perhaps Tatooine, maybe Yavin, Corellia. Who knows where he's going to head up next. So Admiral Akbar and the trap games are off this week, and that gives me even more time to preview and pick some of these big-time matchups and to share Caleb and Amy's picks with you as well. Now, as far as where I'm at so far, Now, at season's beginning, I made myself a goal. I wanted to end up 70% or better by the end of the regular season, and hopefully closer to 75%. That's what I'm picking for. That's my ultimate goal. Last week, I went 9-6, which is good for 60% on the week. Not bad. For the season, currently after 6 weeks, I am 56-34. Good for 66%, so I'm definitely on track for that 70% or better. Last week, guest picker who joined me was Brad, my colleague, friend. Ooh, Brad had himself a rough week. He went 7-8, so currently he's in 4th place of 4 for my guest pickers who have gone so far towards seeding in the Ultimate Tournament coming up here shortly. So we'll see how Caleb and Amy do. All right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it on. I'm going to go ahead. I've got some of Caleb's insight right here. I've got a little bit of analysis from him. So let's go ahead and get this set up and get it going. What do you say? And we're going to start hard and heavy, guys, right out of the gate. Huge matchup. I could have picked this as one of my spotlight games, but the 3 I picked include undefeated teams. And between these 2 teams, there's 2 losses. I've got number 7 USC, the men of Troy, take it, to number 20 Salt Lake City to take on Utah and the 2 Utes. That's right. Huge game within the Pac-12, playoff ramifications. Now remember, coming into the year, Utah had a lot of promise. People were absolutely taking them. They were a favorite to get to the college football playoff. I myself picked them to get one of the 4 invites, but here they are. They have 2 losses, and if they have any hope of wanting to get to the college football playoff, they've got to win this game today to keep that dream alive. Here comes undefeated USC to try to ruin their season, kind of put them at that point out of the possible running, even to reach the Pac-12 title game. Huge game in Salt Lake City. And to set this one up, that's been the main question. Can USC defeat a strong upper echelon defense? We're going to find out this week, guys. So, this first game, I'm going to let Caleb go ahead and pick first, and Amy. And they say, with this game being played in Salt Lake City, it makes it tough to take the Trojans. But I think in the end, they get the job done and go home with the victory. That's right. Caleb and Amy, they like USC, the men of Troy, to fight on. Me, I think Utah is such a different team at home. I think they're going to rebound after last week's loss in the Rose Bowl against UCLA. And I just think the environment there at elevation and Salt Lake, it's to me, I think the best venue other than Oregon in the Pac-12. Because of that, I think Utah rebounds, they get it done, and they keep themselves in the college football playoff hunt and also in the Pac-12 conference title hunt as well. So I'm taking Utah. Next game, big, huge matchup within the Big Ten West. And I'm so excited for this game. I'm giddy. I wish I could go to this game. I mean, I'm only 3.5 hours away, but, you know, my wife's got plans. I'm still recovering from getting last Friday, so I got to lay a little bit low still. I'm talking Minnesota off a bye week travels to number 24 Illinois. That's right. Illinois is ranked after their 9-6. That's right. You heard right. 9-6 victory last week over Iowa. They find themselves ranked for the first time since 2011. And to the winner of this game, I think they are right there with Purdue. I think it comes down to the winner of this game along with Purdue. Those are the teams that are ultimately going to vie for the Big Ten West crowd. Injuries in this game are going to play a big-time factor. For me, there's one injury for each side. It seems like running back for Minnesota, Mo Ibrahim, will be back. Hands down their best running back, so that's a plus for Minnesota. Illinois quarterback Tommy DeVito went down late in the first quarter against Iowa. and they're kind of have been hush-hush with his availability. I have the feeling that he's not going to play. I just do. Arthur Sitkowski has got some experience. He did find a way with Illinois to defeat Iowa last week. But I just give the advantage to Minnesota. With Mo Ibrahim back and not knowing if Tommy DeVito is going to play or be available, I've got to go with Minnesota. But I hope I'm wrong. And I'm doing this because I picked Minnesota preseason to win the Big Ten West. And I want to be that guy who says, hey, I told you so. But I'm so happy for my Fighting Illini brothers and sisters. So hopefully they get it done. I can't wait to watch this game in Champaign. I mean, I can't wait to watch it. Caleb and Amy, their take on this game, and they are Illinois fans themselves. And also they root for the black and gold. They do. That with Minnesota star running back Mo Ibrahim returning for the Illini game, it's going to be bust in the bubble. They believe it's going to bust Illinois' bubble and they will move out of the top 25 with a loss. So they're also taking Minnesota at Illinois. And we'll see how that game plays out. Next game. Wow, huge game in the ACC. Number 15, NC State travels to Syracuse to take on the Orange in the Dome, a.k.a. the Carrier Dome, but top of my head, I can't remember what the hell it's called now, but it's always going to be the Carrier Dome to me. Syracuse is coming off of a bye week. NC State, huge win last week at home over Florida State. Quarterback Devin Leary left that game against the Florida State Seminoles, and they're keeping that very close to the chest this week. We don't know if he's going to be available. So this is a tough week to bet. If you're somebody who's involved in Vegas or Atlantic City, good luck, because we just don't know who's really going to play and who's not. These coaches are keeping it hush-hush. So for me, I'll let them set up this game. NC State's quarterback is banged up and may or may not play, as I just told you. I think the Orange get it done at home and become bowl eligible. So Caleb and Amy are going with the home team and the Cuse, the Orange. Me, I think whether Devin Leary plays or not for the Wolfpack, they're a good team. So that being said, I'm taking Syracuse as well. I like the upset. No matter who's in the backfield for NC State, fight on Syracuse, and they remain undefeated. That's right. I'm taking the Cuse as well. Next game, kind of an off-the-radar game. Definitely want to give some shout-out and love to the Land of Enchantment. I believe that is New Mexico's state motto, the Land of Enchantment. We've got the Battle for New Mexico. That's right. The New Mexico Lobos travel to the New Mexico State Aggies, the Fighting Jerry Kills. I love you. I'm a big fan of Jerry Kill. But this season, that team just ain't good. They are good, they're bad, and they're ugly, all three at times during each game. So that being said, I'm taking the Lobos of New Mexico. Caleb and Amy, they like the Lobos as well to win and bring home in-state bragging rights. So we both like New Mexico in this game. Next game, big tilt in the SEC, specifically the SEC East, where Missouri is within that division. Number 16, Mississippi State, and Will Rogers on my Heisman shortlist travel to number 22, Kentucky, to take on the Fighting Stoopses in Lexington. I love this matchup. I'm a big fan of both of these teams and programs. But in this game, boy, this is going to be an awesome, awesome contest to watch. Caleb and Amy, I'll let them start it off. State comes out on top in Kentucky only because the Wildcats are actually, at this point, Will Levis, it looks like, is going to play earlier this week, It was unknown, but it seems like all reports are saying he will be available and starting this weekend for the Wildcats. And I told Caleb and Amy that, but regardless, they are taking Kentucky to win. Whether it was Mississippi State or not, So Caleb and Amy, they like Kentucky at home to rebound. Kentucky is reeling a little bit. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost at Ole Miss, and last week got stunned at home against South Carolina. For me, this game, you know me, I have been on the Mississippi State bandwagon since the opening week. I told you guys they were going to be one of my big-time sleepers in the SEC West. I think this, and you gotta go with the Pirate. He knows something about everything, does Coach Leach. He knows how to win on the road. Just don't ask him about football. He doesn't want to talk about that. I think Kentucky, it's going to come down to Rodgers versus Levis. And me in this game, I think Mississippi State has just too much firepower offensively. I'm taking the Bulldogs to get a big-time road victory and stay in the SEC West race with Alabama. Give me State, hail State. So there we go. Next game, big-time tilt in the Pac-12. The Cougars, Washington State, travels to Oregon State to take on the Beavers in Corvallis. Oregon State, awesome walk-off win last week at Stanford on the farm. Unbelievable catch, reception, and touchdown scamper with about 20 seconds left. Definitely one of those, if you haven't seen it, check it out from last week's game. Can they continue that streak? Will that continue there in Corvallis? Me, I'm all about Oregon State. They were one of my best bet picks. I took them over 6.5 wins. I put a little money on the Beavers. At home, they're more physical. They're a better team. I'm liking Oregon State. Now, Caleb and Amy, they're going the other way. The Cougars quarterback, this team is sound. They can play. They can score. There's no doubt about it. But I think Oregon State is too physical, punches them in the mouth. But they're taking the Cougars of Washington State. So we'll see who comes out on top of that matchup here. Next game, kind of an off-the-radar game. A basketball rivalry renewed, but it counts big time here on the gridiron. In the ACC, North Carolina travels to Duke. That's right, it's not quite basketball season, but this is a good primer. I love this matchup. I cannot wait to watch it and see who wins. For this game, simply Caleb and Amy, they like North Carolina. This freshman quarterback for Mac Brown's team is getting it done. But me, I like the Dukies. That's right, I'm taking first-year coach Mike Elko. This is going to be a signature win for him over their arch rival. Just like what happened last year in, I don't think North Carolina is going to ruin like they did Coach K's final game last year inside Cameron. I'm taking the Dukies. That's right. Give me Duke. Give me Duke or give me death. Next game. A big one in the MAC. That's right. The Kent State travels to Toledo to take on the Rockets. And if you missed that one, Kent, real genius. It's a classic 80s movie with Val Kilmer. Check it out. Caleb and Amy for this game. They like the Rockets. They looked really good last week against NIU, a team that I thought could really make a lot of noise at the non-Power 5 level, but they've really had a tough season. They like the Rockets. Me, it's hard to go against them right now. They're rolling. They're blasting off into the unknown, into oblivion. And maybe they'll meet up with Admiral Akbar at some point. So I'm also taking the Rockets of Toledo in this game. Next game, and I've got to give them some love. They received one of my 3 cheers from Week 6. The UConn Huskies, who sit there at 3-4. They've tied for their most wins in a season since 2016. So I've got UConn at Ball State. This game, what a story, what a job Coach Jim Mora Jr. has done his first season, resurrecting the UConn program. They're no longer the doormats or the laughingstock of FBS football, but I just like Ball State in this one. I think they've got a little bit too much for UConn, but it'd be great to see UConn sitting there after Week 7, 4-4. What a great story that would be too. So hopefully, you know, that story gets out there a little bit more. Don't sleep on UConn. I mean, you look at their schedule, they got a few more winnable games. So I like Ball State. Caleb and Amy, they like the Cardinals as well of Ball State, so we're going to move on from this game. Now we get to my spotlight games of the week. And the first one, as I told you, this segment's opening, my Academy game of the week, I've got Navy at SMU. That kicks off tonight on a Friday night. Navy really got rolling last week. I believe they put up 40, maybe 50. So finally their offense gets rolling. They've been a little stuck in the mud. And SMU's coming off of a 3-game losing streak. Another team I thought would make a lot of noise, potentially grab that New Year's 6 bowl berth. Wow, who do I see in this game? I just think Tanner Mordecai is too much for Navy. I think Navy offense will put up some points. SMU doesn't play great defense. I just think SMU gets the victory and ends that losing streak. I'm taking the Ponies at home. Caleb and Amy, they like where I'm going. They also like SMU at home as well. So now let's move on to my next spotlight game of the week. This is my non-Power 5 matchup game of the week. I've got number 25, James Madison. They travel to the Eagles of Georgia Southern, a team that put Coach Scott Frost out of his misery when they traveled to Lincoln earlier this season, put up over, 600 yards against that Nebraska black shirt defense. There might have been 500 yards. I forget now. I'm getting up there in age. But either way, they were the coach killers early in the season. So JMU, I picked them last week to lose at Arkansas State down in Jonesboro, Arkansas. They proved me wrong. I am a big-time believer in this team, this program. They know how to win. They have a culture of winning. So this week, I'm not making the same mistake twice. I'm taking James Madison in this game. Caleb and Amy, they are completely on board the JMU train. It's rolling along. They also like James Madison in this matchup as well. All right, guys. Now we get to not one, not two, but three. I'm bringing at you 3 premier spotlight games this week since Missouri and Iowa are on bye. That's right. It's a good old-fashioned 3-way. It's a 3-way, which is 3 times better than 1. So the first spotlight premier game I am bringing to you is these are going to have huge implications for conference titles and college football playoff berths. The first one is in the Big 12. The 2 teams that sit on top of the Big 12 with Kansas State. Number 8, Oklahoma State, travels to number 13, TCU, who scored that big-time win last week against an undefeated Kansas team in Lawrence with game day there. Both of these teams are battle-tested, and it's really then going to kind of signal, whoever wins will signal who is the leader at the halfway point in that conference, which I said earlier this week on my Week 6 review and recap episode. If you haven't checked it out, do it. I know you'll like it. I did say that the Big 12, to me anyway, is the deepest, most exciting, and best conference right now in the nation. So let's go with guests first. Caleb and Amy with this game. Man, they are completely in love. They have bought what Sonny Dykes in his first year is selling down in Dallas-Fort Worth for the Horned Frogs. They're taking TCU at home. And how could you not like that pick? I mean, Max Duggan on my Heisman shortlist, like I said earlier this episode. I mean, he's completing over 70% of his passes. This team is in the top 3 in total offense. They're scoring left and right. Oklahoma State comes in. I love quarterback Spencer Sanders, who's now been in college for 10 years. And the Pokes come in undefeated as well. You know, I love this TCU team, guys. They were another one of my best bet picks preseason. They were also projected at 6.5. I took some money. I put some money down on the over. I absolutely think they'll get there. But there's something about this Oklahoma State team. I've got a feeling that these two teams might end up playing again in the Big 12 title game. I just think I trust the Oklahoma State defense a little bit more. TCU can score, but can they stop anybody? And that has always been the story of any previous Sonny Dykes coach teams. Offense aplenty, defense optional. Because of that, veteran quarterback, on the road, hostile environment. I love the Purple Chaps. That's all I'm going to say at this point. You can put 2 and 2 together. I'm taking the visitor. That's right. I'm going to take Oklahoma State in a very, very, very close game. But I do like TCU potentially later on in the Big 12 title game. And we'll see where it goes from here. So I'm taking the Pokes in that big-time game. Next one, the next matchup of undefeateds in the Big House. Number 10 Penn State travels to number 5 Michigan. Game of the year at this point in the Big Ten. Wow, what a matchup this is going to be. A rejuvenated Penn State team that has road victories. They've been tested. They've won at Purdue, at Auburn. So going to the Big House may not be all that intimidating. Plus, Sean Clifford's still the quarterback. Another guy that's been in college for roughly 10 years. Let's see if they can get there and come out with a victory in the Big House against what I believe might be the most balanced team in the nation, in the Michigan Wolverines. Guess first, Caleb and Amy. Penn State wants revenge from last year's game, and that was a game that came down to the wire in Happy Valley. Michigan did find a way to get it done and left with the victory, is what Caleb and Amy are referring to. I felt home field advantage last year was going to get State the victory. And this year, I think I like that thinking as well. In the Big House, give me Michigan in a close battle, striking down Penn State's revenge plans. That's right, Caleb and Amy are taking Michigan. Me, I just said, I think they're the most balanced team in the nation. Young quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who I think is very poised, who has really impressed me. Even though he's young, you can tell the guy's a gamer. But what really impresses me about J.J. McCarthy, watching him, is just the leader. He looks so comfortable and confident, always has a smile on his face. His teammates seem to respond to him very well. Looks like a quality leader. Kind of like another quarterback that we once upon a time saw at Michigan and now is in the NFL. A guy by the name of Tom Brady, if anybody remembers or knows who he is. So that being said, what a game, what a matchup. I'm going to take hail to the victors valiant. I'm taking Michigan in the Big House as well. And here we go. My last Premier Spotlight game. Huge game there on Old Rocky Top. Another matchup of undefeated teams. Huge tilt in the SEC. Number 3, Alabama, travels to number 6, Tennessee. Game day is there. What a backdrop and a setting. Is this Tennessee's time? I mean, these are arch rivals. They meet every year. I believe Tennessee hasn't defeated Bama since 2006, so it's been a while. Will this be their moment? Or will Alabama, like we've seen so many times before, be Alabama? Because here's the storyline with this. I already mentioned it. Bryce Young, Alabama QB, I removed from my Heisman list. He did not play last week. Coach Nick Saban is keeping it once again very hush-hush. We don't know if he's going to play or not. So it might be their backup, Caleb Melro, I believe is his name. Played well last week, but now goes to a hostile environment. Wow, what a game. And you know me, I have been all on board the Tennessee wagon and train since preseason. I think they are a legitimate playoff team. But this is their moment to prove it. All right. And Tennessee, I think Alabama is a 7-point favorite. So Vegas really believes that Alabama will do it again as they always seem to do. You write them off, you think they're for dead, the rat poison, and then they find a way to win. They just come out and take care of business. So let's see what Caleb and Amy think about this huge matchup. They like at home in Rocky Top. We're taking the Volunteers to upset Alabama. They've been scraping by for some very close victories, plus Bryce Young being hurt. Alabama brings enough to get the job done, but Tennessee ends the Alabama losing streak. It should be a fantastic game to watch and a close battle. They like the Volunteers, the checkerboards on Rocky Top. And me, whether Bryce Young plays or not, how effective he is, this is the moment I have bought in. I am on board. They're playing checkers. Alabama's playing chess. I like Tennessee to get it done, to pull a big-time upset, to announce themselves as playoff contenders. It's that Heisman moment for Hendon Hooker. I'm taking Tennessee on old Rocky Top, and they'll celebrate accordingly on good old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. That's right. I'm taking the Vols as well. Woo! I am fired up. What a great week it's going to be. And that is today's episode, my Week 7 preview and picks. Please subscribe, like, share, rate, comment. Let me know what you think about my analysis, my insight, who you like on some of these games. Once again, I apologize. It's up a day late. I will do better next week. After all, I'm only human. All right, I make mistakes, and sometimes life happens. But thank you for all you do. It's an absolute pleasure being here, as it always is. So next week on Monday or Tuesday, be looking for my Week 7 review and recap game, or review and recap episode. That's right, as you can tell, I don't do any edits. I don't do any dress rehearsals. I don't do anything like that. I just click, record, download, and send, because if I put in that kind of effort, it would be a job, and I've already got myself a day job, and being the father of 2 and a husband, I've got enough on my plate. So be looking for my episode next week, and I might even hit you with a special episode over the weekend. So thank you to all of you who have responded recently to my previous episodes. Thank you for all you do. Without you, none of this would be possible. So we'll see where we go from here. But until next week, enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend. Enjoy the football. Best of luck to you during the dessert course. Hopefully your teams come out on top. We'll see next week. So until then, as I always say every week, peace, progress, prosperity to you. And thank you for joining me on this episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.